That was so funny. You know, they'd be real stiff walking around with these nice suits on and everything. After a couple of drinks, man, you'd see them play Rocky Top, man. You know. So it was cool, man. I said, yeah, we got them now.
Yeah, right.
Greetings, everybody. It's Keith Billick here with another episode of the Picky Fingers Banjo Podcast. This one is coming in a day or two later than I wanted because of all the holiday, shenanigans that end up happening and derailing schedules. But this episode does feature a legendary guest who I promise will be worth that wait. And, speaking of all the holidays, I do hope that you and your family, friends, loved ones are having a safe and happy holiday season. Happy holidays from the Picky Fingers podcast is what I'm getting at. And I have good news. If you're having a great holiday season, but there just hasn't been enough people gathered to talk about banjos with, I am spreading my own brand of holiday cheer, and that is going to be tomorrow, December 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern. There will be one of our monthly VIP Lounge video meetups with myself and your fellow listeners. However, typically this is only reserved for Patreon subscribers, but with the festive season upon us, this is going to be open to everybody. So if you are hearing this before December 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern, head over to patreon.com/banjopodcast. There will be a Google Meet link posted there, and you can join that video meetup and hang out with us and talk banjos, and we'll see what happens. It's always a great time. I'll also be posting that on Facebook and stuff, so chances are if you follow me, you'll get to see that. But hope to see you all there. Now, speaking of that Patreon site, that is also how you become a subscriber to the podcast and support the show, making sure I can keep bringing these episodes to you with these cool interviews with great players. And folks, becoming a subscriber is only a few dollars a month. Check it out. And I always take the time to recognize some specific supporters of the show. And for this episode, we have two longtime supporters who recently upgraded their support level to, get the official episode shout out. But make no mistake, these guys have been with me a long time, and I'm talking about Brent Davis and Joshua Adkison. So, Brent and Joshua, thank you so much for your continued generosity. And on behalf of all the listeners, thank you, because you are making this show possible for everyone, and I couldn't do it without you. So, Brent and Josh, thanks again. Everyone else, please go to patreon.com/banjopodcast. That's how you sign up to support the show, or at least get that free meeting link to join us tomorrow for the VIP Lounge. If Patreon isn't your thing, you know the usual podcast things to do. You do the rate, review, subscribe, like, share, all those algorithmic buttons that your platform provides you. Please do those. Or if all else fails, get a hold of me at pickyfingersbanjopodcast@gmail.com, or order some swag, banjopodcast.com, and check out the world famous Picky Fingers t-shirts and stickers right over there. Today's featured guest is the Duke of Drive himself, Terry Baucom. Terry has been among the most highly respected and influential banjo players over the last several decades in a professional career that is truly astonishing to look at his resume. He has been a crucial member of such bands as Doyle Lawson Quicksilver, IIIrd Tyme Out, Lou Reed and Carolina, and now he fronts his own band called Terry Baucom's Dukes of Drive. So I was thrilled to meet up with Terry at this past year's IBMA conference. So you can hear some background noise, and you can also hear a bit of a few miles on my voice during the interview. It was at the end of a long but fun week, and it just continued getting to speak with a banjo legend like this episode's special guest. So give a warm Picky Fingers welcome to Terry Baucom.
Where are you from?
Just outside of Detroit.
Is that right?
A town called Ferndale, Michigan. It's like the next town north of Detroit.
You used to have a lot of clubs up there. Charlie Moore and all the old guys used to play.
Yeah.
A lot of bluegrass, hot bluegrass, and you'd never think that. You know?
Yeah. A lot of the transplants from down south came up for the car jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
So, there's a bit of a scene.
And pick a lot on the side, man.
Yeah.
On the weekends, you know. So, I admire that. That's...
Dana Cup is still up there. I don't know if you know Dana.
I know Dana very well. He's a good player and a really good person.
Yeah, he sure is. I'll tell him you said hi.
I think a lot of him. I sure do.
Yeah, he's great. He's still kicking around. I run into him now and then. And
yeah, he played with Monroe forever, man. You got where you'd see him, Monroe would be with him, or he would be with Monroe. You know, they just hung out a lot. You know.
Yeah.
Which is that's a great thing to do, is hang out with Big Mun. You know.
Yeah, he's got a lot of the history up here, not to mention Osborne Brothers, too.
Yeah, like Cincinnati was another hotbed, you know. Just Harley Allen and Red Allen, all of them, man, they had killer bands.
Yeah, it's not all just North Carolina. I know you're proud of being from here.
Oh, yeah, but that goes to say, you know, we are known for that as far as, you know, playing the music a certain way, and everybody went to Scruggs style, you know. It's why he was so popular, man. He was so good. Plus, he seemed like he must have sat around and played all the time.
Right. Know? Some people you can just tell, right?
Yeah, you can tell, and I'm not one that just sits around and plays all the time, you know. If I'm working on a break or something, or kick, I will work hard on it. And I work hard otherwise, but take a break, man.
Yeah, some people are obsessed with it. Well, let's back up and just tell listeners how it all started for you. Just, I guess, introduce yourself, say who you are, where you're from, and how you became a banjo player in the first place.
All right, my name's Terry Baucom. I'm from North Carolina, Monroe to be exact. And I play the 5-string banjo, and I love bluegrass music. That's what I've done all my life, and it's what I'm still doing. And I think that I will continue doing it as long as I can do it at a good, where you play it really good.
Yeah, know? We all hope so too.
So,
that's cool.
You know.
How did you come to play this instrument? Do you have any early memories of the first time you heard it or wanting to start playing?
I was watching Beverly Hillbillies. It's real hot TV in 1962, man, and I heard it. I come walking through the house and I heard it, and it sounded like a machine gun, man. It's like, bah, bah, bah. You know, and I said, I want to do that. That looks like fun.
How old were you at this point?
I was 10 years old.
All right.
And I told my dad, I said, I really do want to get a banjo for Christmas. He said, we'll see what we can do then.
Now, were they into music, or were they musicians at all, your folks?
Yeah, Dad picked. We had a band, and, picked around.
Yeah.
Few fiddle contests, that kind of fiddlers convention. So, and at that time, bluegrass was kind of at a lull. It wasn't doing all that much, like it is now by any means, And we went and looked, and we could not find a decent 5-string banjo. There's all tenor banjos, old stuff.
Oh wow!
So we kept looking, and we finally found one. And, at the time, Charlotte was a huge town, and they had all kind of pawn stores and everything, but they didn't have any 5-string banjo.
Right.
So we found a K open back 5-string banjo, and that's how it started for me.
All right. Yeah. How did you start learning, or was there a point where you got to start playing with people?
Yeah, my dad played guitar, and he knew enough just to get us both in trouble. You know what I'm saying? He was a guitar player, and everybody can pick up the banjo and do a little run here and there, but beside the point. And once I got it, I thought I was doing really, really good. And my dad's cousin, his name was Bill Simpson, and he worked at one time with Monroe, like played the whole summer.
Okay.
And, you know, he said, your roll is all wrong. I was doing, I don't know, but it wasn't it. So it wasn't that. And he showed me that, and he said, you practice that day and night for a week, man, and don't do nothing but that. I said, okay, this is important now. You got to do this, you know. So, and once I got that roll and started playing it into like 9-pound hammer, you know how that goes. I keep hitting that. So once I got that roll down and started applying it to different songs and everything, and I got it down where I could do it at any speed. Of course, speed is, you don't even need to talk about that when you first start playing.
Right.
Why would you talk? Because you don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, something I've told beginning students before is it seems obvious to us, but beginners don't realize that it's better to play slow with good timing than to play fast with poor timing.
Absolutely.
That'll make you seasick.
That's very good
to
advice,
it.
sir. Yeah, sure is. So, like I say, once I got hooked up with the right roll and everything and started playing, man, it's like somebody flipped the switch, like night and day, man. I said, yeah, I'm beginning to figure this out now.
Yeah.
You know, I started working on all kind of different things, and the more I learned, the hungrier I got for it, you know.
Yeah.
Then I become one of those guys that sit around and play all the time, you know.
Yeah.
My mother used to come in the living room where I'd be in there jamming. She said, could you take that outside for I said, sure I can.
Driving everyone nuts.
Yeah, so I would go outside and play in the swing and stuff. And Dad was real supportive. He said, you're becoming to be able to play some songs and play them right. He said, I got a guy that I work with. He's got a couple Gibson. So he brought the 2 banjos down one day after work, and one of them was an RB100, you know, no tone ring, you know, pretty banjo, and he had a 250.
Okay.
And
was that like a bow tie model at the time?
the bow tie, well, it looked like a bow tie. It had the bow tie peg head. Well, I guess it was a bow tie. You know, I didn't think about it. The 250, it was a bow tie. That's where it goes, because I knew at one point that if I got that one, I'd be playing a bow tie. Mm-hmm. And there's quite a few of them around. You can go to big fiddlers conventions and see them, buy them cheap all day long, you know.
Right.
But anyway, Dad said, you choose the one you want. And I said, well, I'd just sooner have this RB100 because it was lighter, you know. Yeah. The tone ring
wasn't something you were worried about at the time, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I got the Gibson RB100 and another light switch, man. It was like, wow, like getting out of
That's
really
a big
bad,
upgrade.
like a bad car to a super car. You know, it's like, man, I love this. And then I went back to that guy that plays all the time. Uh-huh. Then when I was about 14 years old, I got the bug I need to be playing fiddle, you know. Mm-hmm. I want to play fiddle for a while. And my dad's band, it was me and him and Vance Haythcock. And he was really a good old-time fiddle player. He wasn't a real hardcore, but he played very well. Yeah. So I'd be sitting there playing the banjo, watching him play the fiddle, you know. Yeah. So then I got me a
good
fiddle.
Education.
It is. Yeah. And then I told Dad, I said, I need a fiddle now. He said, okay, well, I love him, man. God rest his soul, I love him because he was so supportive, and that is important. You know, if somebody throws off on a kid, say, you can't play that. Yeah, he can, man. Right. You know, he might not be as good as he wants at that moment, but, you know, it is. Yeah. So, you know, moving along on that, I started playing the fiddle and jerky and sound like wild birds and stuff like that, you know. So, and then I began to learn that stuff, you know. So I put the banjo back for a while, for about 3 or 4 years.
Do you think learning the fiddle impacted how you play the banjo?
To some degree, yes, I do.
What do you? How would you describe what you think you've gained as a player from having played the fiddle that you maybe wouldn't have gotten?
I tell you, it probably would. I say I left the banjo for a while, about 3 or 4 years, and my dad was really supportive of that. And your question, it showed me how to play more of the melody. Because on fiddle, on anything,
that's
really,
your job.
Yeah, it's a job, and you got to play it. If they don't know what it is, it's doing no one any good,
Right.
And then I went to work with Charlie Moore, and that's my first pro gig, traveling and playing everywhere, and man, I loved it too. It's fun.
There's nothing as quiet as a night with no music, or as dark as a night with no stars, and nothing as lonesome as a cold, lonely room, just wondering all night where you are. As we walked together, the music was playing.
And then it was all just that's when the door busted wide open, when you started being able to travel a little bit.
Oh yeah, that really got a hold of me.
That's cool.
So
let's go back to what you said about the fiddle teaching you to play the melody better. Are you able to demonstrate kind of the essence of what you're talking about how to bring out the melody really well in a banjo kickoff or a solo?
Like take Gold Rush. See, it's more or less, it just kind of plays itself, once you get it in a certain groove, and so I would say that helped me quite a bit, because if you never played fiddle, you don't know, what, you like it, but you don't know how to play it,
Sure.
know. So I was at that standstill for a while.
Yeah.
And after that, I went to work with Boone Creek with Ricky and Jerry and Wes Golden and myself, Steve Bryant, and then that was just a whole new beginning, man. I mean, it's like, wow, this is something here.
Dixieland, I hear you calling me, where the fields of cotton and what is snow. Dixieland, the boats are shoveling steam, people are riding on that Dixie Queen. Harry Ann is waiting across the Mason-Dixon line, where the fields of cotton and what ain't clean. I'm heading on that Dixieland Queen, where they all gather to shout and sing. Dixieland.
Tell me about the philosophy of that band, because at the time, this is a little before I was aware of things going on in bluegrass music. That was a pretty progressive band at the time.
It was.
And you guys were doing a lot of taking different directions that maybe the music hadn't gone before. Talk about the philosophy of that band and how you guys decided to approach that.
Well, I'd been playing fiddle with Charlie, and Keith Whitley and Ricky was, they were already playing, because Skaggs was playing with the Crow, doing the 0044 album and stuff. We didn't really have any big philosophy thing, it was just like, just play, and we'd do hard drive bluegrass, waited around in the country music some, which is all that's good for you, man, and it was quite a quite a good time at that time. But anyway, Keith and Ricky were playing with Ralph, and I was playing with Charlie. Mm-hmm. So we'd play the fire halls and stuff. They had to raise money for the fire trucks and all this stuff, you know, fire things, you know, and that usually would be like on a Sunday.
Okay.
So I'd hang out with those guys all the time. There'd be like 2 or 3 bands, and, you know, and people loved it up there. They loved the kind of music we were doing, and we didn't really know or really think about, are the people going to like this or not, you know.
Okay.
We just played what we wanted to, and we'd even do some old Bob Wells stuff, you know.
Yeah, the
and
swings.
Me and Skaggs would play fiddles, you know. We'd done some twin fiddle work stuff. Would just give us another avenue. Say, hey, this is good. Let's do some more of this, you know.
Yeah.
And we did, and we really loved it. And we cut two albums. And
yeah, those are great recordings. Even today, they hold up. They're really exciting to listen to.
Yeah, a lot of people has told me that. Said, man, that stands the test right there, you know. Which made us say, wow, that's very cool, you know. And you know, I was loving doing that. And Skaggs got a call from Emmy Lou, so he said, boys, I'm gonna have to take this. It's, you know, it's just good paying and everything. I said, man, do it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about us. I'll find something. I always have.
Yeah.
So I was without a band. I'll go from a super band to no band.
Uh-huh.
You know, that was a little heartbreaking, if you would call it that.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
You're trucking along and just
everything's beautiful, you know, and so
stops overnight. Yeah.
Yeah, stops.
Folks, we are in a golden age of online instrument instruction, and at the top of that world is Peghead Nation. Peghead Nation has streaming video courses in banjo, guitar, mandolin, fiddle, dobro, upright bass, and ukulele, so you can learn bluegrass, old time, and plenty of other styles from some of the most talented players and instructors in all of roots music. Check out the courses they have, and this is just for banjo. You could get beginning or bluegrass banjo with Bill Evans, clawhammer banjo with Evie Layden, Wade Ward style banjo with Bruce Molsky, the banjo according to Danny Barnes, and contemporary bluegrass banjo with Wes Corbett. Each of those courses include high-quality video lessons, downloadable notation and tab, play-along tracks, and plenty of tunes and songs to play. And the best thing yet is you're going to get your first month free just by being a listener of this show. So go to pegheadnation.com and use promo code PickyFingers at checkout and claim your free month of the best instruction out there. And if you find yourself needing a banjo or accessories to get ready for those Peghead Nation courses, I highly recommend you check out Elderly Instruments, which is the world's most trusted source of new, used, and vintage stringed instruments, including banjos, guitars, violins, mandolins, ukuleles, all that stuff. They're going to have the best instruments you can find anywhere, and we're talking everything from the more affordable instruments for people starting out on up through the most highly sought-after vintage instruments. Elderly Instruments has been family-owned since 1972, and if you can't make it to their Lansing, Michigan showroom, you can see their full selection at elderly.com or give them a call at 517-372-7880 for some professional advice on all of your banjo and other stringed instrument needs. And you know what all these stringed instruments have in common? They all sound better with GHS strings. GHS Strings is another sponsor of the Picky Fingers Banjo Podcast, and I'm proud to say they have been made in Battle Creek, Michigan since 1974. And if you don't want to take my word for it, maybe you'll believe such people as J.D. Crowe, Sonny Osborne, and Bela Fleck, just a few of the many, many users of GHS Strings. So go check them out, ghsstrings.com. They have a wide selection of gauged sets so that no matter what you're looking for, you'll be able to find something there. So what was the next opportunity you had after that?
Well, I moved back to Charlotte, which I'm from Monroe, which is a little bit east of Charlotte. So I moved back there and just kind of done some teaching and just whatever you could do. And at that time, corporate center, they had some huge banks there, and they had a lot of corporate parties and banquets and stuff.
Yeah.
So I got where I was doing that, and I was playing most of the time 4 or 5 nights a week, banjo or fiddle, whichever one they needed.
Was that just like a pickup band that you would put together for the gig?
Yeah, the guys older than me, and, they were good, but they didn't really play the North Carolina get in your face style, So I just played with them. I didn't really, we never recorded anything or anything like that. But
right.
We'd
kept you busy, though.
Yeah, it kept me busy, and playing music. As long as you're doing that, you're in pretty good shape, man.
Yeah.
As far as getting along, and by playing the fiddle, too, it's doubled your chances of, I can do the fiddle or the banjo, which one you want, or rhythm guitar.
And that's pretty unusual for a banjo player to double on fiddle. You see a lot of mandolin players do it for obvious reasons.
Yeah, absolutely, they do, and
that's pretty rare.
It is rare, but it gives you that avenue that you hadn't used before, So as long as I'm learning and enjoying playing, then I'll do it,
Was that difficult to keep your skills up to snuff on both instruments?
Banjo suffered more than the fiddle.
Did it?
Because I was kind of really into that, and I'd been playing, Min Skaggs, he cut an album, That's It was the title of it, and he used his dad and mom, they was good singers and stuff.
Mm.
So, Keith, he died way too early, but that's the way it goes, and you can be around people like that and just hear them sing how cool.
Yeah.
They just do little turns and little pulls and it's say, wow, really gets to you. And then you start really working on that stuff, and.
Yeah, Keith Whitley is the master of that, yeah.
He really was. And Skaggs, man,
sure.
he was too. And he was at a point, he was young, all of us young, and he could sing tenor high as he wanted to.
Right.
Man. If I want to put it on the moon, that's where we're going, so.
Yeah.
But then you ask, what did I do after that? Is Doyle.
Right. And how did you get that opportunity?
Well, he had produced an album for Southbound.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they cut 2 different ones, and he was producing that for them. So he got to hearing Lou Reed sing, man. He sang like a bird anyway, and he also, Lou also played fiddle. We played some triple fiddles on that. But
wow.
But how I got the band is he talked to Jimmy Haley and said, would you be interested in starting a band? And Jimmy said, yeah, I'd love it, man. So Lou Reed said, I'm in, and they said, who we going to use on banjo? So I got the banjo gig, and that was like a whole new world on the other side, because we just played, man. I've never worked so hard on music in my life. We done it like a job. Like you get up and you start playing at 10 in the morning, and you'd usually go to about 6 o'clock for dinner, and then you'd get a couple more hours in after that.
Wow, yeah.
So, you sitting around playing all the time.
Yeah, that's intense.
And not just one of us, it's all 4 of us, And Doyle really wanted a strong quartet, so I sang bass. Charlie had kind of taught me to sing bass because they were doing a lot of quartet. So, you hang around with people that can play and sing, it just rubs off on you, you know what I mean? And
Yellow River, it's in my mind and in my eyes. Yellow River, it's in my blood, it's a place I love. I've got no time for explanations, got no time to lose. Tomorrow night you'll find me sleeping out beneath the moon at Yellow River.
my mind.
And those corporate jobs, man, it was so funny. You know, they'd be real stiff walking around with these nice suits on and everything. After a couple of drinks, man, you'd see them play Rocky Top, man.
Yeah.
So it was cool, man. I said, yeah, we got them now.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you sound a lot better at that point too.
Yes.
Was there a time in here that you started to notice that you had a unique style that maybe was different from some of the players you'd been listening to?
Well, I think it come about what the band playing with Doyle, you know, because we spent so much time together, and it just absolutely was smooth as you could get it. I mean, we couldn't get it any better, so move on to the next whatever we're going to do, you know, and I think that really helped us to control ourselves without going out on a limb and can't get back, man. That's a bad feeling there.
Now, what do you mean by that? Just not taking musical chances kind of
Big
thing?
ones, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, you maybe been working on a few different things or a melody to the song, and that's not right. It don't sound right. So you go back in. And, you know, sometimes Doyle's a good banjo player, too. A lot of people don't know that, but he plays very well. And I said, man, give me an ideal here. I'm stuck, you know. And he said, let me see you banjo. So he'd help me out. Or Jimmy, if Jimmy's having a hard time, he was a good teacher because he got it from Jimmy Martin.
Okay.
Which he is a nut, but, you know, a good nut. And he could play and sing, you know. Yeah. Otherwise, Crow wouldn't be around, you know.
Sure. And a lot of the other banjo players that we look up to, yeah.
Yeah, and J.D. told me one time, he said, I played all the time when I was a kid because we didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
Which made him such a better player than he would have been, you know. But
was there anything that you worked on when you were playing all those hours in a day that you think was unique to your playing style?
It taught me to play melody better than what I was doing. You know, I could play, but the melody would somehow get lost in the song, you know, which is not a good thing to do.
Was there a specific way that you worked to improve at that?
Well, we would, like on some days, we'd just do gospel quartets for like the first half of the day. You know, stuff like that. And, you know, you're around people that can play, so you want to play better. So everybody was there saying, yeah, I'm gonna get this. You get yours, I got mine, you know, that kind of thing. And we would do this singing thing, man. We lived in an old farmhouse, and there's like 5 different bedrooms.
The band all lived together in the same house?
Well, no, Doyle lived right up the road, and he lived in, I can't remember, it's right around Crewe, Virginia, right around in there. But Doyle, he was living closer to Charlottesville. And we would get our instruments, and we'd all start in one room. And then we would start playing. And then you walk through the house to the other side, and you still be singing. If it wasn't 100% there, you did that all day. So, you know, people say, well, I don't think I could play that much. Well, how good do you want to be then? You want to be good or good? So, you know. And, you know, the more you sing, the more ideals you get for your banjo, because you get to that one point, you say, I want to play 100% melody.
Yeah.
You know. So then we were on that kick for a while, you know. So you wouldn't get lost in the music, you know.
You think having to be so connected with the melody as a singer helps you also become connected with it as a banjo player?
It teaches you to back a singer up, you know, whether you just own a banjo or a guitar or whatever, you know, it's important, it really is.
Yeah.
If you get lost in it, that's all right. Just straighten it out and don't do it again.
Yeah. How do you, what do you think about when it comes to playing backup, whether it's behind a singer or even other solo instruments?
You do something that will enhance his sound, you know. Like Scruggs, every once in a while, a fiddle would do a little run or something, and he'd kind of do hit like a tenor part, you know, real quick. You have to really be aware of where you're at in the song.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, just 3 or 4 notes slide down. It sounded big, but it wasn't all that big, but it fit the song so well, so that's pretty much how I kind of based it.
So between working for Boone Creek and then the original Quicksilver, and then eventually you came to work for, you were a founding member of IIIrd Tyme Out, is that right?
That's right.
So those are all bands that are, I'm interviewing you because you're a banjo player, but those are bands that have really made a name for themselves because of their vocal skills.
So I'll dream till I hear you love me, and I'll hope till I see your smile. Wish I could hold you forever, and somehow erase all the miles.
So talk about the discipline that all those bands have and how they got to be so good at that.
Yeah, well, Doyle, he would preach, play the melody, man. If they can't tell you what you just kicked off, then you're not doing it. You need to sit down and, work on it like you would a singing part. And I do think that's good, because once you get this in your hand, it's like, that's hard to do. Melodies, I think sometimes harder than the fiddle, because I can just hear a fiddle backing up a good singer like Keith, just doing long things, little double stops, I can hear that sometimes more than I can for the banjo, and I think it's the love of the fiddle. It's always there, man. You can't get rid of it.
Yeah, it can do some beautiful things, that's for sure.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Especially with a really good singer or a good band, man. Yeah, that's happy time then, man, for sure.
So at some point, and maybe you have a story about this, why do people call you the Duke of Drive? Who came up with that name for you?
John Lawless. Do you know John?
Not personally, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Okay. And John's a good friend, and we were... He hired me to come to Roanoke and do a weekend of workshops, and he didn't mention that or anything. And we got the video done, and he handed me one. And he said, "What do you think?" I said, "I like it." And then I looked up there and it said, "The Duke of Drive." I said, "Well, yo, John, what's going on?" And he said, "Man, you had to have a title, and you need to be the Duke because you placed hard drive." And I said, "I like it."
Yeah. So are you paying him royalties every show you do because he came up with the name? You still owe him money for that?
I told him, I said, "I need to take you out to dinner about 100 times for my name,
Yeah.
It was good.
Of course, the reason that it caught on is because you do play with such great drive. So
Right.
maybe talk about what drive means to you in terms of having good bluegrass banjo drive.
I would say that listening to Crow would probably be how you want to play drive, man, because he was just so good at hearing a song or a break he needs to take and just play it like he's always been playing it, And this the solid of like old home place, man, right there, just getting you, And it's hard to separate the fiddle and banjo on drive because, are you familiar with a guy that played around North Carolina and his name was Joe Green, Big Joe Green? and he played the fiddle like I would play the banjo, you know. He had the most drive I've ever seen.
Wow.
I mean, once he took off on something like Katie Hill, it was blasting, man, and he was such a good player. And I kind of said, you know, if I'm going to be playing all this drive and stuff, I need to work on the fiddle and get it more up to the banjo, you know.
Oh, wow. Okay. So a lot of people describe drive as being like a little bit ahead of the beat. If the band is playing a certain tempo, you're hitting it just, you know, fraction of a millisecond ahead. Is that sort of how you hear it also?
Yeah, I hear it where you just start playing, man. You get in a good, comfortable groove and just sit there and do it. You know, just really sit there and do it. And what I was going to say a while ago about Ricky and Jerry is some bands would play, and it wouldn't be right on top of the beat, so it wouldn't sound like he's playing very much drive, you know. So you get it out and you really cut loose on it and think that way of playing together, you know. Then it starts making more sense. And a lot of guys will say, how do you determine if you're on top of the beat? I said it's hard to tell you, man. You know.
Right.
And practice with a metronome, you know. That's a good tool to have. And if you really learn to use it, man, you can do good things with that.
For sure.
And then Skaggs, you know, Mark Pruitt was going to be the banjo player for Boone Creek, but he had a music store that him and his brother had just opened, and he said, I can't really leave my brother like that. So I told Ricky, I said, I can play enough fiddle to get us through this until we get one. He said, that'd be good. Because I knew all the songs and all the arrangements. So we've been playing in the Holiday Inn for 5 nights a week forever, you know. So we kept playing and I said, what about this banjo player? I said, we don't need him. We got I said, all right. So then I had to sit down and really work hard on it then. Right. You know, because I was used to playing another instrument, so.
I suppose they didn't pay you twice as much for playing two of the parts, right?
No, it wasn't a lot of bucks around those days.
I bet not, yeah. So looking back, you've recorded with so many great bands and you have so many good recordings, along with your own solo work and your other bands. Is there one that you would look to as like a really great example of your own banjo playing that you're particularly proud of?
I would say that would be, let me think about that for a second. Never Looking Back.
You're wearing out your welcome, making tracks across my heart. And I know how this story ends before it even starts. Say you're walking straight and narrow, but honey, I know you'll only come back long enough to make me blue. You're wearing out your welcome, making tracks across my heart.
It's got several different kinds of things, you know, kind of not chromatic, but a little chromatic lick thrown in here, you know.
Yeah, you would mix
bit.
in some melodic style type of things,
Yeah, and I would think out of the ones that I've done, that one would probably be show you different slow stuff and, you know, just different styles. And, you know, so.
Now that we've covered, that's a really good thing to bring up. Now that we've covered how to play with drive, how do you approach the slow stuff? Are you still thinking with drive in mind, or how does your mindset change when you play that type of stuff?
I never did really associate those two things together.
Right.
It's a good thing to think about. And if I'm working on something, a break or kick, you know, I will work on it hard, you know. But I guess you could say playing something really slow and you was right there on top of the beat, that would be acceptable, you know, so.
That's cool. So you just mentioned the recording that you're proud of or displays you're playing well. I guess I'll turn it around. Has there ever been anything about your playing that you could never you felt like you could never get quite right, or like what bothers you about your own playing?
Stuff like Sailor's hornpipe, you know, Bill Keith stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I love Bill Keith, you know. I miss him so much. Good player. And he could just zip up and down the fingerboard and not even be looking at it, you know. And it's all I can do to even get it started. So that's one I don't ever play.
Okay, like that fiddle tune style that he had, the melodic style.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That is it.
Let's talk about your instrument here. Is this your primary banjo that you perform with?
It has been for the last few months. Actually, I'm endorsement with Deering banjo.
Right, you have that signature model, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a good banjo. I really like it. It's they built me another one. It's mahogany, and the other one is walnut. And that walnut, I played it for like 12 years, man. It's really good. And this one here, I got it as an endorsement. Let's see, in February the 3rd. 2004. So I had it on the stand in there, and I remembered that I got it when I was working with Doyle. Doyle said, "Man, that is a fine banjo." I said, "I like it." So I started playing it, and then I got the Deering endorsement, and I just started getting the. It's gold. It's gold plated, but it's not gold plated. They're really stepping out and getting into more metal things on banjos, you know. Like they can take and put, let's see, what they do, they bake it in an oven at a certain degrees for so long, and it'll turn this as gold. And Janet said that'll be she said for the next 100 years, it's going to look just like it. And it looked brand new, you know. So if you're over that way.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to go check it out for sure.
Yeah.
So you said it's gold plated, but not. Does that mean it's like kind of an aged gold look? Or is
it's sort of aged look. Okay. It's not real bright, you know.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah, it's going to be very nice.
Yeah.
And, you know, the more you play one and carry it around and different temperatures and everything, then you start, you know, it really starts sounding good, you know, because the metal is getting lighter and the wood's getting lighter, you know. Metal not as much as the wood, but the wood like that walnut, you know, and that's a harder wood than mahogany. But now you can pick it up and say, man, and then pick this up, and it's a little bit of difference. So, what are you playing? What banjo?
I have a Sullivan. It's in that bag. I can show it to you when we're done. It's a mahogany Sullivan banjo.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I've got a Sullivan. I like it too. It's a good.
Yeah, I've been really happy with it.
Yeah, man, they're good makers, you know. And at one time, Eric was doing all the necks for Gibson, you know.
Right.
Which is cool, man, because he is the man on the necks, you know.
Right.
He knows what he's doing, for sure.
I love the neck on mine, and it's always sounded really good.
Yeah, that's good to have one you really like to play, you know.
Yeah. So then, coming back to this one you have, I think you told us about the Deering, but is this the one you actually play more at this point? This Gibson?
I had put a new set of keys, Deering keys on it, and somehow it got a little bit crooked or something. It didn't fit just right. And I said, I can't use this, and you know. And then about that time, she said, we almost got your other one done, the mahogany. So we kind of put the walnut one, just kind of laid it back and said, we'll get back to this.
So you're sort of just waiting for that other one to be ready.
And then I do want to play the gold-looking one because I've never really had a gold one. You know, I had a friend that had an old Granada that I used to play some, you know, but the neck was really, really big. So that made me not like it because I don't like a real big neck, man.
Okay.
It's hard to get around on it, you know.
Sure.
It doubles your chances of failing.
Part of what I admire about your playing, maybe you could talk about if maybe the size of the neck affects this, is your pull-offs and getting those really precise.
Your action up here needs pull-offs. You need it a little bit lower, and one thing I do miss here is these are just regular frets, but both of the D-rings are it's got stainless frets.
Oh, sure.
So you can get a really, so you can jump on it like that, but it would be more crisp and sound better if it was stainless. Stainless is good stuff.
I mean, a lot of people choose stainless because they don't wear out. You think they sound different too, even when...
I think it gives you a little bit cleaner cut. A little bit cleaner, So, yeah, it's... you look for things that makes your banjo sound clean, and that would be one of the first things I would do. If your banjo is a little bit sleepy sounding, So you know how that is.
Yeah. Sometimes it just doesn't sound right, yeah.
Yeah, so you can just get a better pull-off.
That's great.
And most of the time, if I am doing some... to kind of pull down on that. Pull off in G is harder to pull off than the one in A.
Then up higher, yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you want to do anything you can to make your banjo sound cleaner, and the frets was one way to do that. Are there any other measures that you've taken with your banjos to try to get that cleaner sound?
Most of what I would say would be, practice your pull-offs in G, because if you can get them in G, you can get them anywhere. A or B is perfect anyway, But yeah, the stainless fret, and you don't want your action too high up here. You'll be fighting it, and a thing that I have just changed, I was playing 11, 11, 13, 20. Now I'm playing 10, 11, 12.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that, you have to have really strong hands if you're going to do pull-offs, and do it in G. I mean...
with that heavier string, especially, yeah.
So, just get your banjo and go to a good luthier and say, I need this action where I can play it, and that first thing, what do you suggest,
Do you find that your preferred action tends to be lower than like other players that you've come across?
It's maybe a little bit lower now than it was a few years ago.
Even yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Got it.
It's hard to get them like you want them, You about have to sit down with somebody that really knows how to do it, and then sit there and play a little bit and keep messing around until you say, yeah, it's getting close now.
And I think also an important thing is once you find somebody who knows how to set it up how you want,
it's hard to find too.
Yeah, latch onto them and don't keep track of them.
Yeah.
How about, you know how banjo players get about wanting to know what picks you use and bridge and head and everything? Why don't you take us through that and tell us what you use?
All right, I'm using, they're not pre-USA nationals, but they are, I'm not sure if it's mid-60s, 50s, 60s, something like that, but...
Some old national picks?
Yeah, they're old national. They got USA on them, but I can't tell the difference, really.
I know Dean Hoffmeyer has that website where if you really wanted to know what they were, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got that down, man.
Yeah.
And I've for years used blue chip thumb pick. Mm-hmm. I mean, man, you can play on that. I mean, first one I had, I think I played it for like 7 years.
Wow.
And it was still good, except it was just getting short right there a little bit.
It's a little
so
flattened
I've
off.
been using this one, man. It's Cadillac.
But you got a lot of miles on it, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm getting to the point now, though, this one, I always see how it's wearing off on the top. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to find one that's been used about this much and really clean it up and get them compatible,
Oh, man.
I swear I keep hitting that.
All right, well, is there anything else you wanted to tell everyone about your playing style, or that I forget to did I forget to ask you anything that you think is important to how you play the banjo?
Yeah, I would think if you can find a man to do it the stainless frets would be one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
It just feels so good to, those. And the more shiny and better these look is the more nickel in them, nickel steel. And then, get it where you can tune your banjo and you don't have any trouble. And then just sit down and play and work on whatever you want to. Just be sure it's right. Listen to Crow, man, he's killer.
Yeah.
Scruggs, I love them. All of them.
Yeah.
And we had
Yeah, that's never a bad idea.
I know, man. And then Bill Emerson and John Hickman and Sonny Osborne, and it just goes on, and that's all in this year, man.
Yeah.
That's sad, really, really sad. But a good thing that we got a lot of recordings off all of them.
We still have their music. Yeah.
So that'll live on for a long time.
It sure will.
Long time.
Well, tell everybody how to. You're still performing and putting out recordings. So tell everyone how to find you, like on a website.
Yeah, you can get me terrybaucom.com.
All right.
And my wife, Cindy, is kneedeepinbluegrass.com.
Yeah.
And she did get you one, right? The new project we just had.
No, she has.
Okay, I'll correct that then. She was in a hurry when she was down here earlier. So.
Oh, that's all right. Well, she's right behind you, so don't say too much about her.
Oh, she is, huh?
We can talk to her in a minute. No, I would love one. Thank you so much.
We'll fix you right up, no doubt.
All right, well, Terry, it was a real honor to speak with you. I really appreciate you taking the time, especially because I have a clue of how much effort it took for you to wake up and get out of bed and drag yourself down here, because I could have used a few extra hours myself.
I could too, but hey, it's worth it. I enjoy talking banjos, and it seems like more of a comfort zone if I don't even play, but just it feels natural.
I think so too. Yeah, a little security blanket happening. Yeah,
that's right. Well, man, good luck with your adventures here and everything.
Yeah, same to you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too, man. I'll look forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Picky Fingers Banjo Podcast. The song clips you heard in this one were Prisoner of the Past by Lou Reed, Terry Baucom, and Carolina, The Fiddler by Charlie Moore, Dixieland by Boone Creek, Yellow River by Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver, Erase the Miles by IIIrd Tyme Out, Cattle in the Corn by Joe Green, and Long Enough to Make Me Blue by Terry Baucom. Thank you once again to this episode's longtime and newly upgraded supporters. That's Brent Davis and Joshua Adkison. Head over to patreon.com/banjopodcast to become a supporter yourself, or to also get that meeting link for tomorrow's open to everyone VIP lounge. So that's December 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope to see you all there, and if not, I'll just see you for the next episode. Take care, everyone.
That's close enough, isn't it?